what I think people are really saying to you when they call you selfish. But before we get there, if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you happen to be new here, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is DannieRae. I am a conscious alignment coach and spiritual enlightenist. And this is the Starlight Psyche. With that being stated, let's dive right in. I had a moment occur for me that brought this insight. People like to use the word selfish. They like to throw it around really often, and it's a very frustrating word to have used towards you when you are a person who feels like you actually are not selfish. So to have someone just out of left field be like, you're being selfish, you're like, whoa, hey, hold on. Those defense mechanisms kick in, the ego kicks in, and you're like, what do you mean I'm being selfish? Like, that is totally unfair for you to say to me. I dedicate myself to this. I don't even focus on myself. And you know, there are some people out there who would look at that and be like, yeah, I am selfish. But when someone calls you selfish, what I think is actually occurring, they are viewing you from an outside perspective. Your actions have changed from what they used to be. So if you used to be someone who was, let's just say, an emotional Cinderella, and you used to be there for them all the time, no matter what, they came first, everything else in your life was taken care of before you took care of you, you know, people tend to get used to that. They get used to the feeling of you putting them first. But what happens when you shift your consciousness? What happens when you decide, I've spent enough time taking care of everyone else and everything else in my life, taking care of the kids, you know, I barely get any sleep. What happens when you decide enough is enough? This is a pivotal turning point. When you have that spark of insight and you're like, hey, I feel depleted. My cup is not being filled. I see other people's cups being filled because I'm the one with the, you know, purified Brita filter, pouring it into everybody's cup because everyone's coming up to me thirsty and needing more and more and more. But when you become that spigot, you know, that's actually a really good sound for it. Go me. When you become that for everyone and you're just constantly doing that, people get used to it. They start to just think that every time they come to you, they're going to get their cup filled. It's not inherently wrong for them to do. The mind tends to become familiar and then follows the same familiar patterns. So if it's been happening for a while, it makes sense that they would continuously come to you to be their fulfillment instead of, you know, taking care of their own cup place and becoming their own spigot. I don't even know if that's the right word. Becoming their own source to fill their own cup. So when you get to that moment of enough is enough, I feel depleted, I've spread myself so thin taking care of everyone else, my life is not reflecting what it is I value and what I want my life to look like. I don't feel like the person I want to feel like. You make that choice and something shifts. So your energy ends up shifting. It could be very slow, or it could be a very quick cutoff point for those people where you're like, no, I've had enough. I'm done. They're going to pick up on the energy change. They're going to see something's different. And when people become familiar with a pattern and then it changes, the mind starts to freak out and it goes, whoa, hey, hold on. Something's different here. I'm not getting my cup filled. What is happening? You know, it's kind of like a toddler. You tell them, no, you've had enough juice. And they're like, what do you mean? I want more juice, more juice. And you're like, I've said you've had enough. So you've had enough. You can have juice later. When they pick up on your energy change, they are going to have that freak out moment. They might see something small at first, like, it doesn't seem like you're really paying attention to me anymore. Or I've noticed that you're acting different. And you can try to explain to them what changes are happening for you. It's up to them if they accept it or not. It's up to them if they show enthusiasm for it or not. You're not always going to encounter enthusiasm, especially not with particular people who are so used to going to others to getting their cups filled, that outside validation. They are going to put up like a form of protest. Now, when that form of protest occurs, there could be a lot of things that come out depending on how mentally healthy that person is with communication. It could be very disrespectful, or it could be handled in a really calm and respectful manner. We always like the calm and respectful manner. That's what we're here for on this channel, is to learn how to keep that going for ourselves and other people. If somebody who is a taker, okay, very specific taker, we all know these people, they just come to you just to take and then they fuck off again. And they come back when they need something and they fuck off again. And when you put up a boundary with these people and you say, no, you've had enough, I need to focus on me, those people who are the takers, they are not going to respect it. They're not going to be cool with it. Why? Because you're denying what they feel they deserve. I mean, we have put ourselves in that situation to allow them to feel that way. It sucks to realize it, but yeah, we co-created their consistent, unquenched thirst that they think we can only fill. So now that they have that pattern established, they don't want to change it because that means they have to do something for themselves. They now have to fill their own cup. There could be hurtful things stated towards you. They might just throw that word out to you, you're being selfish. You don't care about anybody else. You don't care about me. And it doesn't matter how much you actually do to show the care for everybody else. that's going to be their response, because you're no longer there as their own personal cup filler, their own waitress coming up every time that the cup has reached a certain level and filling it up. It's going to be a big protest to their mind, to their ego. If you are solid within yourself, you're going to be able to put up that boundary and say, you know what, not my circus, not my monkeys. That's your energy. This is my energy. It's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. You're going to be able to decipher it and deflect it and still continue on. That's going to go back to another video of mine with the deciphering what is theirs and what is yours, which is a great technique. I highly recommend you go watch that. So knowing that technique is going to help you put up that protective boundary so you really don't get steamrolled and you don't start taking on their energy. Lots of boundaries, lots of protection for yourself of, you know, keeping your mental state clear, knowing what energy is yours, constantly cleansing your environment, your own energy. And if you have to, remove yourself from communication with that person, which is perfectly fine to do. They are not in the mindset of knowing that putting back into yourself is actually a very healthy action. Refocusing it back on you is not actually selfish. That's an act of self-love. Self-love, but they confuse it with selfishness because that's what they were taught, probably from their parents, probably from other unhealthy people who had the same term used for them when they were trying to focus on themselves. And they have that subconscious pattern stuck in there. So every time that somebody shows that same attribute, that person is immediately and automatically selfish, no matter what. There are other people outside of the takers will eventually start to shift and be like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. For this video, we're going to name them the supporters. Okay. The supporters are actually going to see what changes you have done and go, okay, so this person stopped focusing so much on giving to other people. Now they're coming back to themselves and they're really starting, I'm seeing a development happen for them and it's beautiful. The supporters are going to give you the compliment. They're going to say, hey, I've noticed that you've started doing this and I've noticed a change in your personality. That is super awesome. Your energy feels so much better. You look happier. You look great. They're going to stand by you and help you with putting energy back into yourself because they understand the importance of self-love. They're not going to call you selfish. They're going to look at what you're doing as a way for you to improve yourself and improve your life. And by doing so, you are improving the quality of life for everyone around you, including them. They're going to love it. They're going to use phrases like, I really appreciate what you've been doing for yourself lately. Great. I'm really proud of you for taking care of yourself, for thinking about you first. And they are going to give you that space. They're going to create the space for you to keep putting more time back into yourself. They're going to see it as self-empowerment. They're going to see it as you are becoming healthier, physically, mentally, spiritually, healthier partner, healthier parent, better person, better version of you. And honestly, doesn't everybody just want a little bit better version of them? It's always beautiful to consistently upgrade the software, you know, make it run a little bit smoother, get a few more cool new features. Yeah, that's a beautiful portion of life is development. Developing and investing in yourself is not an act of selfishness. Those supporters might even start to take over some of your responsibilities. If your partner is a supporter and they see that you wanted to start a new workout routine, they're going to help you create that and stick to a schedule. They're going to watch the kids if need be. They're going to remind you, hey, you got to go to the gym today. Don't forget, you got to put in some work with this, whatever it may be. You're not going to be called selfish for that. If someone from here on out does call you selfish, try to decipher if they are a taker or a supporter. So outside of the takers and the supporters, there is also a very delicate balance. What I mean by delicate balance is that when you are going through this change, when you are starting to put more energy into yourself, invest in yourself more, you start pulling that back in and start being able to like breathe and feel like you, overdoing it to where other things in your life actually do become neglected. Your partner, your kids, your home, your job, anything else. That's where an imbalance begins. It's a real thing. Not keeping that very delicate balance can lead to people saying the word selfish if they really don't understand that what they mean is, I feel neglected. I feel you're neglecting the kids. I feel you're neglecting your job. You know, fill it in on the end however you want. I'm sure at some point we've all in some way or another neglected something and had a consequence, undesirable consequence occur from it. Truly investing in yourself in that healthy, delicate balance means maintaining your responsibilities that you previously had, as long as they are beneficial for you. You know, you have family, you gotta still show up for family. You have a job that pays for your home and such. You got to show up for your job so you can pay stuff. And then maybe if it is killing you inside, you can look for a different job in the meantime. So balancing that newfound self-love and empowerment and interest in you and your development with all the other responsibilities in your life is what the investment is. When you start to shift more to only you, that's when you've thrown it out of the loop. And hopefully you are able to keep that balance for yourself. You are also able to keep up those boundaries if you've got takers around you. And I really do hope that the majority of you out there, if not all of you, end up getting that supporter for your investment in yourself. So with that being stated, thank you so much for making it all the way here to the end of this video. I hope some of this content was helpful for you. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about this. If you've experienced the taker-supporter situation, if you think that the word selfish is actually their translation of neglect, like this video and subscribe to the channel with that notification bell turned to all so you don't miss out on any new content. You guys are what powers me to do this. You guys are why I am here. So I will see you guys here next time. Until then, shine bright and illuminate your life. And I hope you have a beautiful day.